I'm Joanne. I'm a real Philadelphia cream cheese lady. And I bet you are too. What's a Philadelphia cream cheese lady? It's a lady that loves rich, decadent cream cheese, rich, decadent foods with a little bit of time. That's the problem I'm always facing, is that I don't have a lot of time to make the wonderful dishes that I dream of. The other problem that I run into is I don't want to get bored and in a rut. Side dishes are one of those dishes that, you know, what can be your starch? Potatoes or rice or pasta, and it just seems that there's just not a lot of choices. If I ask my family what they want, they'll say chicken. Chicken? Well, what goes with chicken? Well, I don't care. I care. So I started to think about things that I really love. Bread pudding has been around for decades. It's wonderful, but it's a dessert. And I thought, what if you put some of the wonderful flavors that Philadelphia cream cheese has and mixed it in and made a cheesy bread pudding as a side dish? So that's what I've done. In my pan, I've taken 1/4 cup of butter, and I'm just caramelizing and sauteing 1/2 cup, about 1/2 small onion. Just getting it all nice and golden. Heat it on about a medium-high heat. To that, taking 1.5 cups of milk, and 1/2 container of Philadelphia cream cheese. Now, we're just going to let this hang out for a little bit. To make bread pudding, you need to take stale bread. So I had an Italian loaf that I cut in about 1/2 inch slices, and I used the whipped chive Philadelphia cream cheese, and I buttered the bread. I just sprayed a non-stick coating on the edge of my pan and used the cream cheese and buttered the first layer. We're going to do this kind of like a lasagna. So I put my first layer down, and now I'm making my sauce. So we have onions, milk, butter, cream cheese. To this, I eyeball things, but we're going to use a teaspoon of ground cumin, two teaspoons ground sage, teaspoon of salt, and teaspoon of pepper. This goes pretty quick. I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. Now this is a pretty versatile dish. You can add different kinds of vegetables in it, or even meat if you so choose. The one I'm going to use today is I love asparagus, and I love cream cheese and asparagus. So I'm going to use asparagus in my recipe, but you really could use anything that your kids like. Taking my bread, I've chopped 1 cup of celery, and I'm going to sprinkle 1/2 of it on. And to this, I'm going to take my cream cheese and bread, my cream cheese, milk, and onion mixture, and ladle this over the top. I want to use about 1/2 the mixture. Then I'm going to take the remainder of my bread, and I just rip it up and place it down. Doesn't have to be fancy. Push that all down on there. And take the remainder of my sauce, pour it in my pan. I'm going to sprinkle the rest with the celery. Now, we're going to make a nice topping for this. Here I've taken 5 eggs. I've whisked them. And I'm going to pour this over top of my bread pudding. Now here you can place any vegetable that you'd like. Frozen asparagus. It looks pretty, tastes good, and it goes really well with cream cheese. Pop a couple of those on there. Uncovered and in the oven for 40 minutes. To my sauce, I'm going to take another 1/4 cup of cream cheese, the plain cream cheese, put that in my pot, 1/2 cup of milk, and I used a teaspoon of oregano, 3 teaspoons of onion powder, and 1 teaspoon of celery salt. Whisk this all up. You get a delicious, thick, creamy sauce. When your bread pudding's done, look at that. You should smell it. When you plate it up, your kids are going to want a big heaping. And add your cream cheese bechamel sauce on the top. And this will accompany any meat and is a delicious side dish. Bon appetit!